welcome to Book Center. I'm Paige Newberry.
And I'm Bill Caldecott.
And we're back!
We're back for March Madness.
I'm so excited Courtney decided to bring us back.
We are so lucky because, did you know I had a baby?
I know, things have changed.
Yeah, and I have some bills to pay, so thank goodness we're back.
He looks like he really likes to read, though.
He did. He was digging the books this weekend.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, Courtney, as you know, March Madness has books going against each other to eventually end up with one final book. We did this before with your favorite storybooks. This is a little different this year. This year we're switching it up a bit.
Yeah, this year it's going to be all brand new books to us, even us.
I know.
We read the books over the weekend and
had to do our homework.
We had to do some homework, take some notes, do some reading, and we found out we have some really great books in the tournament this year. And these books are from books all around the world.
So not just right here in Birmingham.
No.
We're moving to different countries.
All over the place.
Excellent. Well, let's get started on the matchup. So there's only 8 books this year. And the first matchup is going to be The Girl Who Buried Her Dreams in the Can. And it is about a little girl who lives in Zimbabwe, which is in Africa. And she is not allowed to go to school because she's a girl. But her brother is allowed to go to school.
Seems so unfair.
So unfair.
Ugh.
I don't know, I mean, me having 2 brothers, I don't think I would think that was very fair.
No, you would
they
not
got to
find
go
that
to school
acceptable.
and I wasn't allowed. So you're going to read to find out about her struggles and what happens and how she learns to read, because she does learn how to read.
Wow.
It's pretty interesting.
Sounds like a really good book.
Yeah, and what about your book that's going up against it?
Well, my book is kind of along the same lines. It's also a girl who lives on an island, and she loves the drums.
Ooh,
It's called Drum Dream Girl.
that's
And
a tongue twister.
I know, right? I had to look at it to make sure I didn't say it in the wrong order. So she loves the drums and she wants to be able to play them, but just like your book, guess what?
Only boys?
Only boys are supposed to play the
What?
drums. What a weird rule, right?
These poor girls.
I know. So this story is about this girl who fights for her rights to be able to play the drum, and she shows people how good she is throughout the book. And I mean, one of my favorite things about this book is the really cool illustrations.
Wow.
You can tell, like, all the bright colors this illustrator used, I think are really cool.
That's going to really capture the story when you read it.
For sure.
We should also note that all of the books in this tournament are picture books this year.
They're all picture books, and they're all based on true stories.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool information.
Yeah.
Very cool information.
So read this book to find out if she gets to play the drums like she wants to.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see though, because My Girl Who Buries Her Dreams in a Can seems like it'll be a tight race between
Oh,
the
it's
two
going
of
to be a
them.
good matchup, I think. Both the same topic. Girls fighting for their
Right.
rights, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we want to go on to the second matchup?
Second
We have-
matchup, yeah. So in the second matchup, my book that I read is called Separate is Never Equal. And this book is kind of like your first book in the fact that it's about kids who are going to school. And this is about the Mendez family. And Sylvia Mendez, they moved to California with their family.
Oh.
And when she gets there, she finds out she has to go to a separate school for Mexicans because she is Mexican.
Oh, man.
And they make them go to a different school. And they couldn't really ever tell her why.
Why?
No, they never told her really a good reason why. But I'll tell you what, do you think she just sat down and said, that's okay?
I know I wouldn't if I was
No.
in her shoes.
Nope, Sylvia fought for her rights, and we're going to find out what happens in this book as she gets the
Awesome.
right to go to the school with the other kids.
Awesome. Well, the
Yeah.
second book that's going up against your wonderful book is called In Andal's House, and this story is based in India. And there are different social classes in India. And Andal is in one of the social classes that isn't as well respected, but he's got friends that are in this higher social class. And he is celebrating one of the Indian holidays, and his friend who's in one of the upper social classes invites him over. And you're going to find out what happens when his grandma comes across. There's a little problem. So it kind of talks about how the world has been changing, but how some people still are living in the past a little bit.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool, though. I learned a lot about different holidays in India, and also some cool new words.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in the back, teachers, there's like a fun little section, a glossary, that tells you all about the different words
That's
and what they
helpful.
mean. So,
Because I tell you what, reading some of these books from different cultures, there's some tough words
Right.
in all of these books.
right, so use the glossary to help you if you're unsure.
Good tip.
You're unsure.
Good tip,
So,
Paige.
All right, our
All right,
third
round-
matchup.
Yeah, matchup
Moving
number
right
3.
along.
Mhm.
All right, I have the book about the Cambodian dancer. And this is a book about a girl, starts off the story as a young girl, and she loves to learn the dance of her, like her ancestors. And so she does that, and as life goes on, she even becomes a teacher that teaches the dance. But then something awful happens in her area, and she stops dancing. And then you're going to find out if she starts to dance again. So again, pretty kind of like a cool character that has like some hardship, and we'll see how the character responds.
I know a lot of dancers at court and some girls that dance who might be able to relate with that book.
I know some boys that dance too.
Oh, yeah?
Right.
Good.
So
No,
they
I'm
might
not saying
connect.
only girls can dance.
They might connect with that one. Who's
Absolutely.
facing our Cambodian
All right.
dancer?
Well, this is Wangari's Tree of Peace, and it's another true story out of Africa. And what was happening was this girl, Wangari, who lived in Africa, was noticing she went away for a while and to school, and when she came back to her village, she found out that all the trees were being cut down.
Whoa, that's not good. We know about that.
Yep. And she thought this is a really big problem, so she tried to solve that problem. And the thing that she started doing was planting trees. And of course, being a woman in Africa at this time, they thought women shouldn't be able to do
doing that.
It should be a man's job.
Hey.
Well, I won't give the whole book away, but she started a really great movement.
It might
and
be
some
even
really
something
big things
we
happen.
could do here, you know, for
Yeah.
those people that are on the green team or feel strongly about trees.
Yeah. I mean, this is a problem today still, right? Deforestation, cutting down trees.
I see it all the
It
time.
happens.
Yeah.
So this is not a problem that's over.
Wow.
I think that'll be a good matchup, huh?
I think so too. Little dancing versus a little.
Yeah, those are really kind of different stories going up against each other in that round.
But two girls, two strong
strong women.
characters.
Yeah.
Okay, my last. Actually, it's you're up first.
Here's the fourth matchup.
Round 4.
We've heard a lot about girl characters.
Okay.
So here's one with a boy main character.
All right.
And this is kind of a science-y book too, but it's about the boy who harnessed the wind.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a modern spin on, science, harnessing the wind with a windmill. So what happened was a drought.
Ooh.
There was a horrible drought.
That means there's no rain, right? When
Right.
there's a drought,
No rain, so what happens when there's no rain?
gets dry.
It gets dry. It does. And when it gets dry, there's no crops or food, so that's a big problem.
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this boy decided he was going to solve the problem.
Okay.
He went to a local scrapyard and found all these scraps, and he built something to harness the wind and help his village save
It's like
the
a
day.
weather tool.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is super
So
cool.
this book is great because it's about perseverance and overcoming a problem and ingenuity.
Yeah,
and
creativity, coming up with,
Yeah.
some
I
sort
enjoyed
of...
this book a lot. Also great, great illustrations in this book too.
I think we should say all of the books really have amazing
They do.
illustrations.
And they really pull you into the story with their illustrations.
All
And
right.
show what's happening in the story.
Going up against your book
Yeah.
happens to be one of my favorites that I read. They were all great. The One Plastic Bag. This is, again, a true story, but it is about a character who lives in Africa, and she found a plastic bag one day and thought it was great to carry some of her things that she was bringing
Very
back
handy
to
tool.
her, village. Well, that plastic bag broke, so she just kind of threw it on the ground. Because that's what they do when their bags used to break, but their bags were made of things that would decompose. So that
I
wasn't
see
a big
where
idea.
this is going.
Unfortunately, some of the local goats started to eat the bags, and the goats got sick. Wow, this main character, and let me just make sure I have her name right, Isutu, does something so amazing. She comes up with a brilliant idea, kind of like your character,
Yeah,
brilliant
good.
idea,
It's a good matchup then.
to help with those plastic bags. And she creates the coolest thing
Awesome.
for her town, and then ends up selling it. And so
Can't
you'll
wait to see
see
what she
what it
makes.
is. So One Plastic Bag, pretty cool story.
Yeah.
You think it's one problem,
Uh-huh.
and then it turns into
That's
something
a whole
else.
other thing. She turns
Totally
a negative
cool.
into a positive, it sounds like.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that's it. That's the 8 books. There's only 8.
Right, only 8 books, and I don't know if we mentioned this, in this case your teachers are going to be reading these books to you,
Correct.
and you're going to be able to vote on the books after you've heard all of them in your classrooms.
And since these are books that are not as well known, we only have a certain amount of copies in the school. So our wonderful media specialist, Mrs. Olmstead,
Mrs. Olmstead's the best.
she's so awesome. She's the one that chose a bunch of these books. So
Yeah. She did a
thumbs
great
up.
job.
Did an amazing
Good job.
job.
Cooper loved it.
Cooper loved him too.
Yeah.
But she created a schedule so that your teacher will be given a book like each day, and then you're going to pass it on to another classroom. So you're going to need 2 teachers read the books when they're available for your classroom. You'll have that schedule. And then you're going to be passing it on to another room. And then probably after a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, we'll be ready for our first round of voting.
All right. Sounds
So
good.
you were saying maybe you'd have your kids that are in upper L.
Yeah.
Maybe take some notes to remember the books.
Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I think you should if you are able to take notes on the books, on the characters, so when it becomes time to vote, you'll remember exactly what you heard in the stories and which ones you really enjoyed.
And what you liked, right? And
Yeah.
then lower L, your teacher might want to make like a small chart about each book.
That's a
And
good
then
idea.
that way you don't have to worry about the writing and your teacher can do the writing for you. So we're really excited.
Yeah, one more tip for the teachers. We mentioned the hard words.
Yes.
You might want to pre-read these books before you attempt reading them in front of your class.
Correct. There's some interesting
There's
new words.
New names of places, new names of people you might not be familiar with.
And
yeah.
the glossaries really help out with pronunciation keys and definitions, and so really helps.
All right.
So anyways, book, I'm excited.
I'm excited too, Paige, and
We're
it's great
back.
to be back.
It's great to be back.
March Madness is such a great time of the year.
I know. Next time we'll see you guys we'll be announcing the Final Four
Oh,
because it'll come from 8 to 4. So
Just like that.
we can't wait to see who you guys vote into the Final Four. So I'm Paige Newberry.
I'm Bill Caldecott.